Hi, I'm Tom Dalton, host of the Emmy Award-winning PBS television program Under the Radar Michigan, where every week we feature the cool people, places, and things that make Michigan a great place to be. Now in May, the National Main Street Conference is going to be right here in the city of Detroit. And there's so much cool stuff happening in Detroit right now, you're not going to believe it. What, you don't believe it? Check this out.
You know, I have to apologize. I tend to get a little cheesy on this program sometimes. It's just my nature. It's just the way I am. Well, now I have to really apologize to you because I'm about to get really cheesy on you.
We're at the Traffic Jam in Snug, a landmark restaurant and pub here in Detroit. And if you're in the know, you know it's a lot more than that. It's also a bakery, a microbrewery, and last but not least, a dairy, which brings us to why we're here today, the cheese. Not only is Chris Riley the brewmaster here, he's also the resident cheese master. So when he isn't busy brewing award-winning beer, he's making some of the best cheese you'll find anywhere. And get this, foodie friends, you can actually sign up to sit in on the process. Kind of like what I did.
How do you become a cheese master?
Well, in my case, I kind of really just stumbled into the job. I was an avid home brewer, and I was doing construction renovations for the owner of the restaurant here. And the job for the brewing came up. I was like, I wanted the brewing job, and the cheese-making job came with it. Oh. And it was just one of those things where I made a couple of batches with my boss, and then he got called away on business, and I finished making the batch all by myself, and then I was stuck with the job.
Well, apparently, Chris found his calling. He's a true Detroit artisan who's extremely knowledgeable and very passionate about what he does.
Is now we've warmed the milk up to about 70 degrees.
Yeah, you can feel it's warm.
Yeah, so we need to add our cultures, which are going to define what kind of cheese we're making.
Right.
You know,
can you add culture to people? Because I can use some culture.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I wish we could, but...
Well, it's worth a try. Guess we'll just be adding culture to the cheese today.
These are the organisms that eat the sugar out of the cheese and give off...
Just like wine and beer.
Yeah, give off organic acids. So, and they really define what type of cheese you're going to be making. So,
and this is an Asiago blue.
Right.
When do you add the blue color?
Oh, you'll see. These are actually mold spores.
Molds?
Yeah,
like blue cheese mold spores?
And the interesting thing is, though, you would never...
Oh, you can see.
Yeah, you would never know that it was blue cheese until later on, after you make the cheese and age it for a little while. Right. You have to pierce the cheese to allow oxygen into the interior of the cheese, and that's when the mold blooms. So
that's what I find so interesting about cheese making is you use phrases like mold spores and soured and coagulant.
Those are all good things.
I know, but it just sounds like something you throw away, but it makes this wonderful substance that I personally love. I just love cheese.
Yeah. Well, you know, the interesting thing is like the next process, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, where we're going to be coagulating it. Now, traditionally you'd use a substance called rennet, which is an extract that you make from the fourth stomach of a calf. And you have to think, like, historically, how did somebody come up with that? But I can only imagine they must have been using it as like a storage bladder for holding their milk, riding around on their horse or whatever for a couple of days, and they needed the food, and they decided to eat the curds that were in there, and it tasted good.
Huh, sounds like a sound theory to me.
So this is the stuff that makes it coagulate.
Correct.
Like you said, globules.
Right, well, it breaks down the skin on the flat globule. So
fat globules have skin?
Yeah, well, a protein case on them. And so think of a bunch of little globules.
Yeah.
It breaks down the skin, and then they stretch out. The protein stretches out, and then they snap back together into a matrix. So that's what is actually the custard. I don't know, yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so what I figured out is that as much fun as cheese making is, it's pretty complicated and probably best left to professionals like Chris. Ah, but now cheese eating, there's something I can handle.
This is excellent, excellent. I'm gonna come back down next time you do a workshop. Because I wasn't paying any attention in there, sorry.
Right. No, that's quite all right. We'd love to have you.